Welcome to the Horror and Gore Horror Movie Podcast. It's your host, Dakota. I'm always joined by my co-host and best friends, Lyndsey and Goobs. What's up, guys? How you doing? Goobs, I'll let you go first this week.
I'm good. Glad to be here. How are you guys?
I'm
I'm
great.
doing good.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. I feel like a lucky lady being here with both of you today.
So, speaking of that, what Lyndsey said, so we normally drop episodes on Tuesdays, but this week, we're today is St. Patrick's Day. We decided to drop the episode a day early, so you guys will be getting this on a Monday. Still gonna be, hopefully it's the same time at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for you guys, either on the video or audio. But with that being said, what have you guys done this week? Have you guys had any big things that you guys have done?
Well, I made my hat.
Let's just been turning up though on the crocheting.
I have. I've
Yeah.
been making a lot of stuff. It's all coming. I promise.
Yeah.
Tell the
Uh,
people you've been making because we got to tell them about a certain thing.
Okay, well, Dakota and I are both, well, and Goops. We are all three very excited about Clown in the Cornfield. And I am making friendo for my friendo here, Dakota.
What about Mr. John Pork?
Oh God. Do we really have to talk about John Pork? We're not even 2 minutes in, and you're already ruining my day.
John Pork.
I love you, Chef and Colby, but
Shout out to
fuck you,
Chef.
John Pork.
But Goops, have you done anything big this week?
No, nothing big. Both my daughters were on spring break, so I was just busy trying to keep them as occupied as possible.
For me, nothing big this week. Just a lot of work, movie watches, that stuff. But Lindsay, I'll let you go first. What have you watched this week?
Oh boy, I didn't pull it up. You would think I would get this by now. Oh boy. I watched a lot of TV this week. I don't think I watched as many movies. Um, I watched Blood Gorge. Did I already talk about that last week?
I'm not 100% sure.
Anyway, I watched Blood Gorge, loved it. Um, The Devil's Candy, Late Night with the Devil, The Lords of Salem, Backcountry, and then all of the Leprechauns. Well, 1 through 4.
Okay. Goops, what have you watched this week?
So I watched Devil's Candy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Wild movie. I rewatched The Autopsy of Jane Doe. That movie is still terrifying. I watched the new Anthony Mackie sci-fi monster movie Elevation. It was pretty good. Good concept, but didn't execute very well, so it was okay. I watched for the first time Sleepaway Camp 3 Teenage Wasteland, and that might have moved up to my favorite in the franchise. It is so good and so fun.
Nice.
And then I watched all 7 of the Leprechauns the rest of the week.
Goops took the deep dive.
I was about to say that also. He just went like straight in. So for me this week, I actually had a pretty good bit of watches this week. So starting out last Sunday, I got 3 movies in. I got Inside, the French film. Holy fuck. This movie is brutal. It's creepy. It's disturbing. Colby, thank you actually for a little bit recommending me this because I was never going to watch this probably. But after watching this, not only I think the French make some of the creepiest and most disturbing horror films, but this is actually a really good movie. Besides like all the violence and like disturbing stuff, just the story, I think the French do it better than we do over here making movies.
Oui, oui.
They don't hold back.
They really don't. Then after that, I watched a movie that you both have watched, and that is Splinter. Really fucking
Splinter
good.
Rips.
Ribs.
Then
I
I
really
watched
love Splinter.
Splinter is actually good. Like I might have to rewatch it again soon. It's that
Hmm.
good. Then
That'd
I
be a good
what?
Discord movie.
I didn't think of that.
Hmm.
Then I finally got to see Rumpelstiltskin, the 1995 version. Really good movie. Remind me
That
a lot
fucking
of
nose ring.
that fucking nose ring. That movie reminds me of a lot of the first Leprechaun because both the of those movies are directed by the same director, which is let me look at that real quick. It's Mark Jones, so he directs Rumpelstiltskin and the first Leprechaun. So I
Okay.
saw a little bit of similarities in that, but then I took a whole like I think it was like 5 days off from watching movies. But then yesterday I ran through 6 of the 7 Leprechaun movies. But before we get into our main topic this week, let's talk about some movie news this week. So, for our first piece of movie news, we got finally our first poster to the new Toxic Avenger movie. Which have you guys both seen this poster?
I have.
Yeah, I saw the screenshot.
So, Lindsay, what do you think about this poster?
It's a cool poster.
Goobs.
Yeah, I can't wait for this reboot. It's been on the shelf for so long. So any piece that I can get until it comes out, I'm gonna take it.
This poster, oh my goodness. Like you said, Goobs, I think this was screened back in 22 at Fantastic Fest. So it's been on
I
the
think
shelf
so.
because everyone literally said that this was not distributable at all. And of course, Cineverse picked up. Cineverse
Yeah.
got. They were already with Terrifier 2, but I think the box office of Terrifier 3 helped them a lot with
Oh,
this.
definitely.
So I'm excited. I kind of wish we didn't get our first look at Toxie, though. I wish they
Yeah.
saved that to the movie. But I'm still excited for this movie. Then, for our next piece of news, Netflix is rebooting a Stephen King movie. And this is Cujo. So, Goops, you've seen the original Cujo, right?
Yeah.
I have to.
Okay, so, Goops, how do you feel about one? It's being Netflix, but them also rebooting Cujo.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I know Netflix has done some other Stephen King adaptations like Gerald's Game, which was really good. Also, I can't remember the other one. It's like 1933. I didn't really catch that one. I saw bits and pieces. But Cujo does need a reboot. I just hope that they don't do like any CGI with the dog. I hope they keep it
Yeah.
like a legit dog and go that route. That'd be my only wish.
I
How you
think
feel
that
about this?
it could be pretty cool. Like, but I agree if they get too cheesy CGI with the dog, uh, meh. But yeah, I'd watch it.
So I haven't seen Cujo, and that's been on the list a lot because I'm trying to get through like my Stephen King like adaptations right now.
Hmm.
So the biggest thing about Cujo, the original, like you guys said, it's an actual dog. Which what type of dog is Cujo?
The Saint Bernard.
Hmm.
So so Saint Bernards are really big dogs, and it's terrifying. Like
Yeah.
some of the clips I've seen, is absolutely terrifying, and this needs an actual animal. Like, there's only one other movie I think that they should never rebooted. Like, I kind of wish they didn't reboot this because I think they could do the CGI thing. And the other one is also Jaws because I think both of those having that as a animatronic and this having a real dog puts that fear into it, especially being a real dog. Because if you throw some CGI stuff up there, and especially for like this younger generation who's getting into horror, or like people my age that have like never seen Cujo
Hmm.
Yeah.
and going to watch this reboot first, and if you want to see a CGI dog, like with them not watching the original, they might like it, but then will that hurt the legacy of the old one? Because
I don't think it would hurt anything. Yeah, I mean, if it's done right, I think it could have a fan base.
Yeah, I am all for reboots and reimaginings because it doesn't take away the
Yeah,
OG or anything like
you
that.
can
It's still
choose to
there,
not watch it.
and like I said, I hope they go the practical effect route because a big dog covered in a big ravenous dog covered in blood is terrifying in general. So, and to be a real dog, I hope they keep it.
yeah, I'm just
I have
hoping
another
that.
Cujo fun fact.
Ooh, what's your fact, Lindsay?
That's the first Stephen King book I ever read.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm.
Hmm.
So the only other thing with this, I hope they get a theatrical release for it because of it being a Stephen King property and it being a reboot of a Stephen King classic. I think that will do good. But then for our next piece of news, Paul W.S. Anderson is making a adaptation, which it's already been adapted before, but a new version of House of the Dead. Lindsay, have you played the game or seen the original movie?
I have not.
Goobs, have you?
First off, it's one of the best zombie shooter games ever. It's so fun, and but the original adaptation that they did was so bad, so
Oh,
bad. So I hope they, at least I hope they don't put stock game footage in the movie like they did with the old one.
Like, I haven't seen the original, but I heard it's really bad. But I heard also that director just likes to make bad movies. And but the only problem also is Paul W.S. Anderson, and a lot of Paul W.S. Anderson projects are not that great.
He did the Resident Evil franchise, right? Or
Yeah.
a couple of them. Yeah,
Do you think
we'll
Milia
see.
Jovovich will be in this? That's the good question.
Right? That is the only question we need answered. Is she going to pop up?
Then our next piece of news, which I think you two have watched this movie, Star Trek Troopers is getting a reboot with Neil Blomkamp directing it. So how do
Yeah.
you two feel about this? Lindsay, you can go first for this one.
I'm very excited about this. Colby's the one that, I mean, I saw his video that he made the other day, and I thought he was just talking about the old one. And then to get the exciting news that there's a new one coming, pretty cool. But again, like, if it's too CGI cheesy, I might be out.
How you
Yeah.
feel, Goose?
So Starship Troopers is just so great in general, and then uh, Neil Blomkamp. I love District 9. I love Chappie. I love his style when it comes to like science fiction and those type of films. And so I'm really excited about who they chose, and of course rebooting this. It's going to be great.
So I haven't seen the original Starship Troopers,
Hmm.
but Neil Blomkamp though, I've seen some parts of District 9. I really enjoyed the parts I've seen of that. But he made Gran Turismo, and Gran
Okay.
Turismo is in my top 10 movies of 2023. And like
Oh
Goop
wow.
says, not only he shoots great movies, but the way he does camera shots and like, especially whoever he's got for cinematography, you know the movie's gonna look good.
Yeah. It,
So hopefully that's just good when it comes out.
also, we need a sequel to District 9. Throwing that out there.
Do you think he's gonna ever make that?
I hope so. If you get a chance, check that one out. It's so good. It it needs more in that story for sure.
Then for our last piece of movie news this week, which is not movie news, it's just horror news. Trick or Treat Studios is releasing a Toxic mask for the new Toxic Avenger movie. So, Lyndsey, I don't know if you're gonna be into this where you don't collect that much horror stuff, but Goobs, I know you love to collect some horror stuff, especially probably some masks. So, how do you feel that they're finally making a mask for the new Toxic Avenger?
It sounds like it's one that's going to be added to the collection. I don't have very many, but I definitely need to start. And Trick or Treat Studios is super cool as far as what they've done, because I know they've done a lot of Terrifier and stream masks and things like that. So,
So for me, I'm definitely gonna get this. So if you guys are looking back here right now, you see art, which is Trick or Treat Studios. My Halloween 2018 is from Trick or Treat Studios. I got Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and Halloween Ends. So I literally got 4 Trick or Treat Studios masks. So this is definitely gonna be in the collection. It has some great detail, and that's what I love about Trick or Treat Studios is that they really put great detail into their mask. But Trick or Treat Studios, I know the design was not that great, but I kind of want. I don't know if I'm going to get hate for this. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 Freddy Krueger mask.
I don't
Can't
hate
hate
it.
you for wanting something.
Yeah, no, I don't hate that design. It wasn't anything like the OG, but it had its merits. So I don't
Okay,
blame you.
you know how speaking of Nightmare on Elm Street 2010, like with Halloween decorations, do you know how this year's Spare Halloween they had the animatronic Art the Clown?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did you ever remember them having the 2010 Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street animatronic?
I
Mm-mm.
don't remember them having the 2010.
I didn't know that either until this year because I was looking at the Art the Clown one and seeing how it was before I actually went to Spirit, and it popped
Uh,
up that one, and I was
that's
sitting there. I'm
funny.
like, damn, I wish I kind of was this age like 15 years ago or like 14 years ago last year. I'm like, I'll be getting this thing to put in the house right now.
Hell yeah.
But with that being said, that's it for movie news this week. So let's go back to our main topic, which you guys probably know the main topic from Martha No, but Lyndsey kind of gave it off. It's St. Patrick's Day, so what's horror and what's St. Patrick's Day, and that is the Leprechaun movies. So we're running through the Leprechaun franchise. So like we said before, Lyndsey went through 1 through 4. I went through 6 out of the 7. Then Goobs went through all of them. So let's start out with the first movie because we actually have all seen that one. So
Mhm.
Lyndsey, what do you? But before we go in the first one, actually, what do you feel about this franchise as the 4 movies you watched going into this?
I'm gonna sound really blunt and hateful, but I didn't like these movies. I mean, like, there were parts I had fun with. We'll get into it, but I think overall, it's just not the greatest franchise.
Yeah.
Goobs, how you feel?
Yeah. This franchise is not magically delicious. I'll say
No.
that. There's bits and pieces. Sometimes you get pieces of cereal, and then other times you get marshmallows.
Hmm.
It's few and far between, but they're just some movies to put your brain off and just go with it and just enjoy the
Yeah.
time.
I did think it was unique that this was something that I had never watched and Dakota had never watched. So, I mean, that's not unique, but it was unique that we both actually buckled down and watched them together. And now we can talk about them. So, this is a genuine first reaction.
So for me, so going to this, I knew a lot about Leprechaun. Like I didn't watch these. I watched some of like parts of these movies because every year on Sci-Fi, these stream all day long on there.
Mhm.
But Mom loves these movies. Some of them she does, especially the first one. She loves the first one, so I know what Leprechaun is going into this. But after watching the 6 movies, I can say I'm gonna agree with Goops a little bit. Um, you get some cereal, you get some marshmallow pieces, which those are the good movies. Then you get the damn cereal, which
The
there's
damn
some
cereal.
bad, and I'm
Yes.
just gonna go into it later on. I don't want to do it right now, but I'm just gonna say there is some bad.
Yes.
But with that being said, let's just jump right into and run through the movies
Mhm.
like by the chronological order. So the first one. So this came out in 1993, 2 years before Rumpelstiltskin. So people are so this is kind of like the blueprint that Rumpelstiltskin had. But how do you feel that this movie had Jennifer Aniston in it before Jennifer Aniston became a big thing of Friends?
I didn't know she was in this going into it. So that was exciting. Rachel Green was my first girl crush, so I love Jennifer Aniston. I think she's adorable in everything. So yeah, that was one of the pros of this. And Warwick Davis. I love both of them. So I gave this movie 2 stars on Letterboxd, and I think one was for her and one was for him.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
Goose, how did you feel about her being in this movie?
I mean, it's a young Jennifer Aniston. You know, you can't ever go wrong with that. And I feel like the movie itself was a great starting point with this character and this storyline. This is definitely one of the more watchable of the franchise,
Yes.
and I think this is the probably the most watched of all of them, to be honest, because of
Mm.
its rewatch value. Because it was new and done very well in that aspect of what it was going for. And Warwick Davis is just his charisma and his just ability to embody that character as a leprechaun. It's just, this is one of those that I actually enjoy to turn on.
Yeah.
So for me, this movie it fucking rocks. This movie. I love this movie so much.
Does it
Um,
shamrock?
yes, the Shamrocks.
Oh,
No, no, I'm gonna say this movie
hell
fucks.
yeah.
This
This
movie
movie
fucks.
fucks.
Jennifer Aniston being young before her big stardom, you see she has the glimpses of what she's going to become later on down the future in her career. She's the best. Right now, she's the best character because her and Warwick Davis was like going at the same time in their careers. I think Warwick Davis was doing Willow at the same time as this, so they kind of knew people kind of knew who Warwick Davis was, but Jennifer Aniston was the new girl on the scene, and she stilled the show. But this cast is very enjoyable, and the jokes in this, I actually
Yeah.
laughed at a lot of the jokes in this.
Yeah.
And this is the like you guys said, this is the most rewatchable movie in this franchise.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree that as bad as this movie is, the acting was good. Like the cast all had great chemistry. They were funny. Um, Warwick Davis is charming. Like they were all lovable. I mean, Jennifer Aniston was a bitch the first half of the movie, but like that was just her character. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the acting was good, and I think out of all of the movies, you can't say that about any of the other movies. Like the acting wasn't good in any of the others, other than Warwick Davis. So
Yeah.
that was something that stood out about this one.
And not only the actor for Warwick Davis because he's like 22 to 23 right here. It's the makeup design because he don't look
Yeah.
like he's 22 to 23 years old right here. I'm thinking he's in
No.
his 30 to 40s right here. and I'm like, and it's really
Well, he was
well
supposed to be 600.
did true. Um, I forgot about that. But going to this, I didn't like. Okay, I love this movie. I gave it 5 out of 5. But that opening, I knew we had to learn about Mister. I think it's Mister O'Grady, Mister Grady.
Hmm.
Um, but they could have done that down a little bit and just jump straight into the movie. I think that's like 10 minutes off of the runtime. It gives some good lore of like who the leprechaun is, why is he here in the States, out of and not in Ireland or Scotland, wherever he's from. And it the one thing I like about this movie, which a lot of horror movies don't do anymore, is they put you straight into it. They tell you who the leprechaun is. They tell you why he's pissed all the time because he needs those little fucking gold nuggets. Those That's like his Lucky Charms. When
Yeah,
people
they're
say
all.
when leprechauns go crazy of Lucky Charms, I'm thinking now, fuck no, it's always the gold. Those are some little greedy
Yeah.
bastards.
Oh yeah. Don't touch their gold, and you'll be fine.
Hmm.
Yeah. That I thought that this one blended the comedy with a little bit of the scares. I mean, it's not. This has more of the more serious vibe than the other ones, but it also blends a lot of the comedy in with it. Like one of my favorite parts of this whole movie was when they start throwing the shoes in the field. And he's
Yeah.
like, "You can't leave these shoes laying around here." And he starts shining the shoes as he's,
Yeah.
picking them up. And just like little things like that, and always the rhyme schemes that he would talk in. It
Yeah.
blended it so well. And then you realize though when it's time to get violent, he gets violent. So and he can do
Yeah.
both.
I think this is a great beginner horror movie. Like, if you're a young kid, uh, yeah, a young kid wanting to watch a scary movie, like, this is a good intro movie. Uh, you're not going to remember the kills. I mean, other than like the pogo stick thing, which like wasn't even done well. Like, it's not overly gory or gross. It's just, it's a good, like, dip your toe in if you're
Yeah.
young. I mean, I will say, if I had watched this when I was a kid, it would have scared the shit out of me. So, I mean, for sure, there are scary elements, but like visiting it as a 37-year-old woman for the first time, like, I was underwhelmed.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
also it's a great beginner horror. Like you were saying, I think if you go probably 13, 12, 11 years old, it would probably scare you. But
Yeah,
as you being a 37-year-old and me being a 25-year-old, and going to this movie, I know it's more of a horror comedy now, more
yeah,
than
it's
more of a
silly.
just a
Yeah.
terrifying movie. But that comes with his first one. I feel like the comedy only maybe 2 or 3 movies the comedy hits, and this is the one of the two that hits the most for me. But the kills are not that brutal. Besides, I kind of forgot the pogo stick one, but like when he breaks the cop's neck, it's just easy. There's no like gore
Yeah,
right there, except like them like clawing the faces and like him like biting
Yeah.
or scratching them. Um, there's a reference from another horror movie in this. I wonder if you guys picked up on it. When the
Right.
older brother shoots the leprechaun 6 times, he's like, I shot him 6 times. Do you know what movie that's from?
Uh-uh.
Halloween. Dr. Loomis, remember he's
Oh.
like, I shot Michael 6 times.
mm,
Oh yeah. Because he had
there
the
we go.
revolver.
And there was some other reference, but that's the one I picked up on. So I think they were trying to make this as another holiday like slasher because that's why I consider this as a slasher, even though he's like a
Yeah.
magical person. He's not like or Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees. So a little bit. Freddy is a little bit magical. It kind of like puts it in that realm.
Yeah.
But this is just a great fun movie.
Yeah.
So do you guys want to go on to the second one right now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's get into Leprechaun 2. So Lyndsey, how you feel about Leprechaun 2?
This was less enjoyable for me. Because we didn't have the chemistry of the cast before. It was there was only one specific scene that like I even remember, and I was kind of confused about like the leprechaun in the beginning said something about being 1,000 years old, and like in the last movie he said something about being 600 years old. So I'm thinking, is this the same leprechaun? Like, are we like the continuity wasn't there for me? But
Yeah.
then we find out later in the series that these are all different leprechauns, like in different universes. This is not the same guy. It's the same
Yeah.
guy that's playing it, but so that again, I'm not the biggest fan. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would revisit this one when my nieces and nephews are ready to start watching some scarier movies. Like this would be a good one for that purpose, but it's not a masterpiece.
Yeah. No, this one definitely is falls victim to the the sequel trope that is definitely not as good as the first one.
Yeah,
Um, the further you go on through this franchise, you definitely notice the plot holes throughout
yeah,
each film.
hmm,
Um, I do like how they explored a little bit of a different story. How 1,000 years ago he had the blonde girl, and that was going to be
yeah,
his person, and then everything happened, and then now it goes to present time, and he comes back in a different time, and it's trying to find a blonde girl now again.
hmm,
And I fucking love this one just for the fact that when he's driving the little car around and uh, around the track, it just it's not as good, and it beefs up the comedic
yeah.
elements to this one, and you don't have that sinister as much.
Yeah. And his rhymes are always outrageous. Like I always look
Oh,
forward to hearing those. So like that there's humor in there and there are enjoyable parts.
yeah.
So for Leprechaun 2, this one was a little bit let down. I gave this 4 out of 5. The one thing is, there's nobody that you remember from this movie. This cast is not memorable except Warwick Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another fun fact, this is the second and final theatrical release in the whole entire franchise. The rest of these were released
Uh,
on either all straight to physical media. So I think you could definitely see why this was probably the last theatrical, because you would
Definitely.
then have nobody return from the original. Um, unless if you know, I didn't even know about the different universes. Unless if you know it's a different universe, you're thinking it should be picked up right after the first one.
Hmm.
And it seemed like these characters were lackluster. No chemistry. No, you didn't
Yeah.
want to cheer for them. Like there's a lot like in the first one. Like you enjoy these characters,
Yeah.
and I thought the comedy did not hit in this. I did not laugh whatsoever.
It was
Yeah.
dry. Like
Yeah.
and it was like there was no movement. We were always like going somewhere but we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And the ending is trash.
Trash.
I did not like the ending whatsoever. And the final shot of them kissing and hits credits, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? What the little fuck are you doing? Because that is not how you end a fucking movie. This is not Romeo and Juliet. This is a fucking Leprechaun movie. This is a horror movie. This is not a romantic comedy. It's a comedy horror. End it with him or some comedy. Don't end it with two motherfuckers kissing.
Right. Yeah. This one is one of my least favorite of the franchise because of everything you guys said. Lackluster performances, unmemorable characters, and just kind of a flat story.
So the one good thing I think about this, because I'm gonna say this and then we can go number three, is the lawnmower kill.
That's what I was going to
Yeah,
talk
Gnarly.
about.
It's
yeah,
so gnarly.
That's the only part of the movie that I liked.
yeah. He thinks he's looking at some boobies and finds out it's not.
Yeah,
Okay, I
boobies.
was. That's the one part I actually laughed at because the way
Yeah, I did too.
Warwick Davis's humor actually hit right there. He's like, "Oh, you thought you saw something right now? No, you just get blazed to the face."
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but then let's go into Leprechaun 3, and
Vegas,
I,
baby.
I'm gonna let you guys go first
Wait,
because this is when this franchise starts pissing me off.
really? This is one of my favorites of the franchise, to be perfectly honest. I like what they did there. It has some of the more imaginative kills, with the magician,
Hmm.
and I like as ridiculous as it is. I enjoy the fact of when he got bit, it started turning him into a leprechaun, and
Hmm.
kind of had like that virus feel. And
Yeah,
even though it was utterly ridiculous, it gave a new element to the story. Like, the leprechaun won't just kill you if you get bit or whatever, you're going to turn into one. And I did enjoy the aspect of Vegas and just how it all looked. And like I said, he goes pretty hard in this one with the kills. It starts getting a little bit more brutal in the kills in this one, in my opinion. The like the pawn shop owner,
hmm.
and there was some good moments for me. So it's one of my more enjoyable in the franchise.
I felt like it was a fresh start. It was a little more upbeat, and like as you mentioned, the kills were more traditional slasher killers. So we were finally, or slasher kills, not killers. So we were getting more of that. I also feel like this one would have been the most fun for me to watch as a kid, if that makes any sense. Like it was the most fun out of them. Uh,
Like,
his you mentioned the magician. That there was a chainsaw at one point, so I was happy. Like
yeah,
apparently that's something that I enjoy when there's a chainsaw. I learned that about myself recently. Um,
yeah,
there was a flying on fire leprechaun at one point. Like there were fun times.
yeah,
How did you feel about it, Dakota?
So going to this movie, I knew the concept of it, and the one thing my mom told me is when these movies, as they go along, they get more brutal, and you can see that in this movie. The beginning, I thought, okay, this is hit very well because like I gave it 5 stars, 4 stars. I'm thinking, okay, if they can start doing this good, it can start cranking out, especially with the concept of them being in Vegas. It starts out very well. Then starts going downhill really fast. The characters besides the boy, main character, the male main character, and
yeah,
Warwick Davis as the Leprechaun, those are the two only good people. Everyone else in this film is miserable. They don't do nothing for the story except getting killed. Our main lead in this movie is so fucking horrible. I did not like her character at all. And this humor, the only humor I laughed at is when the boy was turned to a leprechaun, like when he's eating the potatoes and he started to do that. But the
yeah,
last 30 minutes of this movie is so fucking confusing because it likes to bounce all over the place. You want to go here, you want to go here, you want to go there, and you got to be consistent with this. And I think this is what this franchise is getting into, especially with these last two, is these endings are not hit on the spot. The first one you had a great ending. These two you had a pretty good story like the second one. And this one it just and it's this director. And I'm gonna tell you why when we get into the fourth one. This director should not be able to touch another Leprechaun movie ever again.
Never.
And I could see this was a non-theatrical film because this is a 2-star rating for me. And I looked at
That's a big deal for Dakota.
Yeah.
and I looked at this and I'm like, oh yeah, I could tell this is a non-theatrical. I'm like, I do not like this movie whatsoever. Because if I go below 2.5, I fucking hate this.
It's a big deal.
I did not like this
Yeah.
movie whatsoever. But let's go on to number 4 because number 4 really got some shit.
Oh God.
Okay. Can I take the lead here?
Oh yeah, you can
Oh,
take the
yeah.
lead.
Okay. So the fact that this movie was going to take place in space, I was super excited. Like, he was after an alien space princess. Like, hell yeah, let's do this. This movie was terrible. It was the worst. Like, beyond the worst. I gave it half a star, and that was just because I couldn't give it no stars. Like, I don't think that's an option. So, no positives for me on this one. But I have a lot of cons when we get to those.
Oh yeah. No. This is definitely one of the worst, if not the worst in the franchise. I mean, you have horrible dialogue. You have just the most and I get it that this was back in 1997, but you have the cringiest, most misogynistic type dialogue and main character who's just so ridiculous. You have him with a fucking lightsaber. I mean, I'm sure George Lucas is somewhere getting royalties for that, for sure. Because
I mean, if I had to pick a positive, it would be the lightsaber. I mean, that's cool.
It's just, I mean, and then to mimic the space planet, you just have some purple lights flashing a little bit on the set. It's just this one I gave it a 1 because I didn't know you could give half a star, but I will update it for sure, because not only did the comedy not hit, you had the weird cyborg doctor thing, that was super creepy. There was one positive that I liked when the guy gets his head smashed against the wall and it's like it just smashed with the green ooze coming. I enjoyed that because it
was pretty fun.
Just because it was fun. But
if I had that on a t-shirt, I would wear it.
Yeah. But this one, I can't wait to hear Dakota's rant on.
One good positive on this, and this is why it's a 1-star. The practical effects are the best thing in this movie. But now, guys, strap in because you guys are gonna be a fucking right. This movie fucking sucks. This is the worst movie possible in this franchise. Why did you let the director of number 3 hop onto this? First of all, you're ripping off 2 movies. You're ripping off Star Wars and you're ripping off fucking Aliens. I could literally see that in the first 5 fucking minutes. My mom looked at me. She's like, "This is weird." I'm like, "Okay." I go into it. I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're fucking right. This movie is so fucking terrible. The dialogue sucks." You get a fucking spaceship. Do you not know how to make a proper fucking spaceship? This looks like video game cartoon graphics. Get some actual people to know how to fucking make a spaceship. Bring people from Star Wars. Like Star Wars, there was nearly 20 years ago. Bring people in there. But no, let's do a low budget movie that fucking sucks ass. Warwick Davis should not be in this movie. This should not even be in a Leprechaun movie. They saw a bad Star Wars script. They put that in it, and they're like, let's shove aliens through this, and let's fucking just shove Leprechauns. This reminds me of what they say the Hellraiser franchise is. They just took a script, put fucking Leprechaun in this. The princess in this fucking sucks. She's like, when she opens her bra and just shows her tits, she's like, "Oh, I'm the kingdom." No, my mom literally calls you Glitter Tits, and that's your nickname from now on. Because you're the worst damn character.
Clip it.
I would love for somebody to call me Glitter Tits, first of all.
Now let's get to the soldiers. These are the fucking worst soldiers ever. The commander.
This was like Timu Leprechaun.
the command. This is how I'm gonna
Okay.
get into fucking Alien. This commander is literally an android rip off of Alien right there. These crew is a fucking bozos. They're so fucking dumb. And if it was I want to know who the fuck wrote this because don't ever write a fucking script in your whole entire life ever again. Um, I am glad that this is the last movie in this like part of the thing because the next movie after this they started again right again. Do not put nothing in space ever again. You want to know? There's only one movie that has done space right, and I haven't seen it. I know it's very fucking good because everyone says this, and that's Jason X. Do not put another fucking horror villain ever in space. That was it.
Yes. Drop it. Oh,
Dakota,
yeah.
I loved that. I
That was
mean,
more
pardon me,
entertaining
that
than the
was
movie.
Diablo. You all just met Diablo.
This movie like it pisses me off thinking about more and more and more. I was sitting there, I was looking at the runtime, I was checking that like how long do I fucking got this movie to watch. I'm like, I don't want to end it because I wanted to put it on that I've watched it to count up my horror movies. But I'm like, this movie's so fucking bad.
Very
It's like
bad.
they tried to do too much. It that so much that CGI didn't have a chance of keeping up. Like there was no chance that was gonna look good. Like
No.
because they just threw everything in there. Every space reference or everything that they could try to make weird, like it didn't make any fucking sense.
Oh, another thing
No.
is it's the lightsaber. Why the fuck? As soon as I saw it, green little just laser come on, I'm like, that's a fucking lightsaber. What the fuck are we doing? I'm like, this is now Star Wars. I think Warwick Davis is in Star Wars, and he's in Harry Potter. He has messed with lightsabers and wands. Why the fuck did you put a lightsaber in his hand for this movie? Just cast him in the Star Wars movie. For the love of holy
I
shit!
was gonna, I was gonna ask you guys what your favorite Warwick Davis movie is
It's Harry
or
Potter.
character. I really love him as Grip Hook in Harry Potter
Yeah.
because he plays multiple characters in Harry Potter.
Oh no, I got one more thing. Oh, I just fucking forgot this. The big ass fucking leprechaun. What the fuck was that actually? I'm like, holy shit. This is like Goobs. Remember Alien? Especially Resurrections, when you get that big ass xenomorph in there, or
Yeah.
even the mother alien. Aliens. This is Ghost in the Aliens. The big mother alien. Aliens. It's a fucking rip off of
Yeah.
Aliens.
Yeah. This, you could tell this script wasn't made for Leprechaun, but they decided, hey, let's throw a fucking leprechaun in it and
Yeah.
it'll be good. Which, totally not.
This movie
Oh,
fucking sucks.
man.
So let's go on to the next, Lyndsey. I know you're already done with all your four movies, but Goops, let's go into a movie that I actually enjoyed next, and that is Leprechaun. Is it In the Hood?
Yeah, In the Hood
Okay,
is number 5.
okay, I'll let you go on to that one real quick.
So I like the setting within Leprechaun in the Hood. I like the fact of Ice-T. He's honestly my favorite part of this movie. So, but I enjoyed the fact that you have just a different style. I mean, this one definitely amps up the comedy within it. I mean, you have the leprechaun smoking joints, you know, um, rapping at the end. The ending rap sequence is just fucking hysterical. There are some pretty nice kills within this one. Um, and this one is more on the enjoyable side for me.
So going into this, I'm thinking, like I just watched number four, so I'm going to this. I'm like, I really hope this is good. I seen your letterbox thing of three. I'm thinking, oh, I hope this is good. And you're like, Ice T is the best far. I'm like, oh fuck. I'm like, oh my god, this might be terrible. But I'm watching it, and the first thing I pick off from this feels like GTA San Andreas, but in the Leprechaun movie.
I could see
You
that.
got BJ, you got Big Smoke. I think it's Ryder and CJ. That feels like this trio right here. And there's two parts that are three parts that I didn't like about this. And that is the beginning scene of like when Ice-T and that guy find the flute,
Yeah.
the seduce scene with the guy with the car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking, that kill, and I didn't like the rap scene at the end. I actually didn't like the rap scene at the end. I'm like, we don't need. What you was gonna say?
It's just I just liked it because it was like the perfect amount of ridiculousness to end the film on, that it was just, it's like, just go for it. You know what I mean? Because in this one, you have a rap group that wants to spread a positive message, and they go to Ice-T's character, who's this like producer mogul, but all he wants to do is promote gun, sex, violence. And so they end up robbing him and taking the medallion off of the leprechaun that kept him a stone. And then all hell breaks loose with the leprechaun. And then you have him, like I said, you have him ending up smoking weed, getting high. And it's the right amount of comedic tone, but it's still not the best movie, but it's one that's a more enjoyable within the franchise.
I really enjoy this movie. The ending really shocked me. I was not expecting that ending, that twist at the very end of the guy being on the leprechaun side. I thought the whole entire time it was gonna be him. And another thing I didn't get was the like the little mind slaves that the leprechaun had in this. I didn't understand that those whatsoever.
Yeah, the girls and whatnot. Yeah, I mean that's part of his natural, just like how he was able to get the guy in number 2 to think he was staring at some titties, but it was the lawnmower blades. He just has that magical piece to it that he can control people. But it seems like it's only certain people.
What was your favorite scene from this one?
Honestly, it's probably your least favorite, is the ending rap scene. It's just so out of pocket, and it's just great.
You know what's my favorite scene?
Huh.
It's the church scene when they're seeing the church.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, yeah, you know these mofos. I'm just like dying laughing over here at everything that he says, and they just like he blows the flute and they just like go full ham on the thing. He's like, they just start like cussing and stuff. I'm thinking, damn, they're literally in the church right now. They're like, oh yeah, we say the Lord's name in vain. I'm thinking, damn, they're just like they just went all in on this shit.
And then you have the cameo by Coolio randomly in the church. It's like, okay, it's just absurd, but it's so.
It sounds like these movies get better.
Oh, this one does get better.
They lean more into the comedic tone of it, and it's like I said, this one is one of the more enjoyable ones, and I think probably my second most watched in the franchise.
Nice.
So let's go on to the next one, which Scoops, you only watched that one, so you can let everyone know how you feel about that one.
I mean, Back to the Hood is, I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to get, because like I said, with In the Hood, it's one of the more fun movies. It's more enjoyable within the franchise. So they tried to go back into it and I guess capitalize on it, but it's so boring. You get very little kills, and they're not even that good. Like, one of the kills is the leprechaun opens up, and the guy's ripping bong hits. And so the leprechaun joins in, and then a coin falls, and they go back to the main storyline of they find the gold, he's trying to get it back, and they go back to that sequence, and coin falls out of his pocket, and he takes it back and puts the bong right into the guy's stomach. That's one of the kills, but it doesn't do any. It doesn't show anything. It just they make the notion that he's putting it in his stomach. They don't show anything until he lays back on the bed and the bong is just sticking out of his stomach. It just wasn't as good. But I see what they were trying to do and capitalizing on it. But this one's not worth watching over and over again, along with most of these. But it's definitely one of the least enjoyable of the franchise.
So I was going to let you guys know I gave Into the Hood 4 stars, so it's right up there with number 2. But we're going to be skipping Leprechaun Origins because technically we don't know what the fuck that thing is. It has nothing to do with the franchise, I heard.
No,
so
that's another one that's like, hey, this is a Wendigo movie, but let's make it a Leprechaun. It has nothing. It's just a monster. Excuse me. It's just a monster movie. So
Yeah.
definitely not a part of the canon parts of the movie.
But let's get into the last one, which is Leprechaun Returns. So, Lyndsey, after you listen to this one might intrigue you just a slight bit. So this one is a legacy sequel to the original. Like, it takes 25 years after the original. And Goops, I'll let you go first on your thoughts.
So this was a first time watch for me today, and I will just come right out and say it. This might be my favorite of the franchise, just off of the first watch. So I liked this may come off as spoilers, so
That's okay.
So they bring it back. Excuse me. They bring it back to the old farmhouse. From the original. They tie it back into the original. They kind of do a like a Halloween 2018 type style of a legacy sequel. That's just how it kind of feels. Now, Warwick Davis isn't in this one. However, the actor who portrayed the Leprechaun actually wasn't that bad. And I enjoyed the story. This one is definitely more brutal. There are definitely some great kills in this one. And there are some good puns. I really enjoy the puns throughout this whole franchise. And it stays up with that, but it amps the brutality up quite a bit. And it surprised the hell out of me. Like I said, first time watching, it's definitely up there in my favorites of this franchise. Just off first watch.
Dakota, why are you laughing?
Because when he said puns, I gotta say this with Goops. Do you remember when she knocks him right in the head? He's like, "Oh yeah, you give gray head."
Yeah.
I started laughing at that straight off.
Yeah.
My dad looked back. He's like, "Did he just say she gives gray head?" I'm like, "Yep, yeah."
Yeah. And,
Gang.
and they bring back Ozzy from the first one. So there's your legacy character. Excuse me. There's your legacy character from the first one. Also, what I really enjoyed about this, and it's probably why it's one of my favorites of the franchise, is that this one, I can't remember the name, but it is directed by Steven Kostaninsky. I can't pronounce his last name, but he's the same guy who did Psycho Goreman, Frankie Frico, and I fucking love those movies. So it has that comedic tone, but it goes pretty fucking hard.
Nice.
So it matches his track record for directing, and he also does special effects and whatnot. But yeah, that's another. I didn't find that out until after I saw it and went to rate it.
Goobs, there's another movie that you love that he directs. It's The Void.
Oh yeah, The Void. The Void goes hard and full practical effects. This one has this Leprechaun has great special effects. There's, like I said, this one gets bloody, and it it's what a legacy sequel should be, and especially with the source material that you have with this franchise isn't very good in general.
Mm-hmm.
This one is a surprise watch. Is it good in the grand scheme of things? No, it's not a good movie, but it's a fun one that is good for this franchise that I enjoyed.
So this movie started the legacy sequel technically because this came out a couple months before Halloween 2018.
Oh,
So
okay.
this was the
That's
first legacy sequel. I thought it came out a little bit afterwards, but no, it came out around the same time. But
okay.
I need to rewatch this thing again because this is the second best in the franchise right now. But this one has so much more. When I said the first one, like it fucking bangs. No, this one really does. This movie goes so fucking hard. The practical
Yeah.
effects and the gore is top notch. This thing is fucking brutal. There were some
Yeah.
moments I'm like, oh fuck, especially for like a Leprechaun movie. And this is a sci-fi original, which I give sci-fi really high praise for because a lot of their movies and shows are not this great and this brutal. But another thing that brings this into a legacy sequel is the main female protagonist we get in this, Lyndsey, is the daughter of Jennifer Aniston's character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that her legacy like ties into this of like going back to the houses because she knows about the house. She knows about the Leprechaun because in the movie it drove Jennifer Aniston's character crazy, where she had to be like taken care of.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I might spend St. Patrick's Day night watching this one. Sounds like it'd be worth a watch tonight.
Ozzy's really good.
Yeah.
I enjoy Ozzy in this one. The
Yeah.
new Leprechaun. Oh, what were you gonna say, Goops?
Oh no, I was just saying it's well worth a watch. If I were to say to
Yeah.
watch anyone, it's this one. Honestly,
Okay, I'm gonna say this. I love Warwick Davis, but this dude, I like. I think I like this dude slightly a little bit better because of those later Warwick Davis performances. The comedy is hits. I was laughing at everything he was saying.
yeah.
Some of the puns. Oh, but they're okay, Lyndsey. I'm just going to tell you one of the kills. It's okay if I tell you one of the kills
Yeah, I don't care.
because
Go for it.
Goops, remember the mailbox kill? He shoves the mail guy in the box. It falls over. He gets into the mail carrier van. He backs up, squishes the guy's head, and goes back over him again.
Sounds fun.
Like I said, this one surprised me, and like I said, this one was an actual first watch for me because, to be perfectly honest, I didn't know this one really existed until we talked about
Mm-hmm.
doing this franchise and going over it. So, to who would have thought going through 7 movies? I've also seen Origin, so 8 of this whole franchise. Who would have thought that number 8 would have been honestly probably the best of the franchise?
Especially considering how bad some of them were.
Yeah.
But
So
I
if
also
you
got. Oh, what were you gonna say, Goops?
no, so if you were wanting to watch this, watch the OG 2, 3, and this one.
Yeah.
And Back to the
It's-
Hood. I could say Back to the Hood, not Back to the Hood, but
into
the Hood.
the yeah. I have my rankings on where they fit, so I definitely it may surprise you.
But before we do our rankings, I'm gonna tell you guys that there is another Leprechaun movie in the works, being made by Lionsgate. So
Okay.
this I think could actually get a theatrical release. But the only problem is, I was thinking this. What studio has been announcing a lot of reboots lately from Lionsgate?
I don't know.
They are doing a remake of My Bloody Valentine, a remake of Blair Witch.
Oh, is it Blumhouse?
It's Blumhouse. I'm wondering, they haven't
Oh,
had announced a studio connected to Lionsgate, but I'm not shocked if Blumhouse at the very end don't pick up the rights for this also, because I could see them
yeah,
doing their own, like, even though we got this legacy sequel, I could see them doing their own thing, like probably trying to bring, like, even though Jennifer Aniston, this is her technically her only horror movie as I know of, I could see them bring her back and just throwing her some money and being like, you can stay for one movie at the beginning if you want to, because it seems like the way, like, she's getting a lot of roles, but it seems like right at the end of her career, she's just picking any role she wants to now for some money, and I think they could
yeah,
throw the bag at her for this,
yeah,
which just hope it's good. I kind of hope they bring the dude that did the Leprechaun in Returns back, because I kind of like his character. Like, I like
yeah,
Warwick Davis, but I like this new guy they have. He is more witty. He has more comedy. It seems like in him.
yeah. And they kind of like upped his voice, so it I don't know if it makes sense, but it's kind of like they pitched up his voice, so it's kind of like elevated and more of a higher octave, so it sounds even more funny.
Silly. Yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of feeds into that. And like I said, his one liners are on par with the best that Warwick did, in my opinion. So,
Nice.
But guys, with that being said, we have went through over the whole entire franchise. So next we're gonna be doing our rankings. So um for Goobs, I'll go and let you do your seven. Then me and you gonna do our 6 and 5. Then Lyndsey will get in there. Then we can do 4, 3, 2, 1. So Goobs, what is your number 7?
so my number 7 is Leprechaun 4 in space. It is terrible. That is my
Um,
least favorite of the. Wait, is that? That's
yeah,
my
that's
least
you.
favorite.
Yeah.
So what's your number 6?
And that is going to be Leprechaun Back to the Hood. Because it's just flat, it's boring, and not worth it.
So my number 6 is Leprechaun 4 in space. Are you guys already heard what I'm saying? I'm gonna just put my piece right there. So Goobs, what is your number 5?
So, number 5 for me is actually going to be Leprechaun 2.
Okay. So my number 5 is Leprechaun 3. So Goobs, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is going to be Leprechaun in the Hood.
Okay, my number 4 is Leprechaun 2. Lyndsey, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is number 4
Goobs, what's your
because it
number
was the
3?
worst.
Oh yeah, it definitely is.
And then my number 3 is going to be. Oh, man. I thought I had this. Now talking about it, I'm rethinking it. Okay. I'm going to say it is number 3. I'll stay what my original thought was. It's number 3.
So Leprechaun 3 is at 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So at my number 3, I got Leprechaun Into the Hood. So Lyndsey, what's your number 3?
Number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Goobs, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is the OG.
So my number 2 is Leprechaun Returns. Lyndsey, what's your number 2?
Number 3.
Okay, and Goobs, what's your number 1?
Leprechaun Returns.
My number 1 is the OG Leprechaun. Lyndsey?
My number one is the OG Leprechaun because it is the only one that Jennifer Aniston was in, and I cannot rate anything above my girl. It's not going to happen.
So, guys, that is that it for you guys for the Leprechaun?
That's it for the Leprechaun, but I do have a question for you guys after Goobs.
I came this close to putting the OG at number 3 and then put Leprechaun 3 at number 2. But I got to put respect on the OG with Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah. We love her.
But we were on a break.
So, Lyndsey, what's your question?
My question is, what is your favorite way to eat potatoes? It's a good St. Patrick's Day question. Potatoes are my favorite food. One of them.
Well, do you have an answer, Dakota? Because I could go.
Oh yeah, I got an answer right now. It's been the past 2 days.
Potato yap.
So, if you guys go to Texas Roadhouse, get those fucking mashed potatoes with some brown gravy on it, because the past 2 days I've been eating those, and those are some motherfucking best mashed potatoes I ever had in my life. The brown gravy goes good with, and it's not your normal mashed potatoes in the bag. No, they actually like pound the fuck out of these potatoes, and they leave the skin in them. And it's so good. They put some butter, they put some salt, they put some pepper. They actually use some seasoning in this, and fuck, they're good.
So I am going to quote the always amazing Sam Wise and say you can boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew, potatoes for life. Doesn't matter how they are.
I have never met a potato I didn't like, even a little bit. Even the ones that I wasn't crazy about, it's still a fucking potato and I love it. But my favorite is a crispy French fry. Like crispy on the outside, but like soft on the inside. Like one that you get a crunch with, but it's still like a soft, so good.
Do you guys like potato salad?
I love potato salad.
Yeah. My wife makes the best potato salad.
Do you like it with sweet pickles or dill pickle?
I am not a sweet pickle girl, so if it's in potato salad, I'll eat it, but like I'm not enjoying that part of it.
She uses sweet pickles, so we are a sweet pickle household.
So my
family respect it.
Sweet pickles also, but the more I've been eating like other people's like mashed potatoes, potato salad. It's even now of like sweet pickles and dill pickles are good. Yeah. Put some dill pickles and potato salad with some paprika on top. That shit, that shit fucking slaps.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But Lyndsey, you want to close this out?
As always, if you're coming back to listen to us again, we love you. If this was your first time here, we love you. We love that we get to have this space to spend time together, and the fact that we are gaining new friends every week. It's been amazing. So if you aren't already, please follow us on all of our social media. Everything is linked below. We all have personal goals that we are trying to hit, so follow our personal page along with our podcast pages. But yeah, I said this in the intro, but I feel super lucky that I get to have you guys in my life. So that's all I have. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Okay, but guys, with that being said, when you guys hear us next time, it will be next Tuesday for episode 19 of the Horror and Gore Podcast. But guys, with that being said, see you guys next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.